Okay, hello everyone. I see there's someone interested in my webinar. Hello, my name is Lucy Ilchinkan. I am an HR manager of Chatless. You all should know me from our first talk after you registered. I was the one contacting you for a short interview, and I was the one helping you out with some issues that you could have had. So yeah, I hope you all know me, and I hope you all happy to see me here, as I am happy to see you as well. Before starting anything, I want to tell you that most probably the special guest that we were all expecting to join us for a webinar, she's not able to make it today, so probably we are gonna make one more webinar with her participation, and that is why this webinar today, the one that I'm making, is gonna be a bit shorter than I was expecting. But anyways, I'm gonna give you all the essentials that I wanted to give you, and I hope that this webinar will be really helpful for you to upgrade your interpreting skills, at least on the field of OPI, interpreting over the phone, at least in chatless service. So I hope after this webinar, the job that you are making is going to be way easier than it was before. Okay, so what we're going to talk about today, I want to talk a little bit more about the three ways call, or how we also call it conference call, because this is the most demanded type of call that our clients choose. And this is the type of call where we have the most misunderstanding between the clients and the interpreters. This will be one. This will be one topic for the webinar, and also I will talk a little bit about the introduction, about the attitude to the client, and some basic things that I think that some of you might know, because I know that a majority of you probably are the professional interpreters, and you don't only work for Chatless, you work for many other services as well, and probably you work as a personal interpreter, personal assistant. But anyways, if I say it one more time, there will be no harm, I guess. Okay, so let's start. First of all, I want to tell you about the three ways call. These particularities of this type of call, the three ways call. What it means? It means that at the same time there are more than two people online. In our case, there are going to be three people online at the same time. So you got the client who is calling you, and you have the third party. So such a triangle, basically. Who doesn't know yet, or maybe there is someone who's watching the webinar not being the interpreter in Chatless yet, I will explain what we are doing. We are connecting two calls in one. We're basically merging the calls, or we make one call within another one, and we have two people online who are located in completely different places. The interpreter in this case is in the middle. He is a mediator. He's a liaison between those two people. And what he has to do, he has to make sure that the conversation goes smooth, that everybody understands each other, that everything is clear. Yeah, and this is very important role, the interpreter, because the conversations and the reason why the client call you can be very different. It can be something very simple, just to ask a few questions and finish the conversation, or also it can be something more difficult. More difficult. When I'm saying more difficult, I'm just saying that the vocabulary is going to be more difficult. I'm saying that it can be emotionally more difficult. For example, we have calls like we might have even the interrogation in police, like when you have the conversation which is really rough and it's very emotionally charged. So in this kind of situation, the interpreter has to stay calm, has to the interpreter has to hold this balance between two people, and also, of course, not to forget to do his job to interpret between them and to do the right translation. So what happening when we are getting the call from the client who wants to call somebody else? The client calls you as an interpreter first, and then after the client explains you whatever he wants to, you add the third participant in this conversation. When I'm saying that the client tells you whatever he wants, whatever he thinks is necessary for you to know, this is very important to understand, because the people are very different, and some of them, they just want to give you all the information straight away. They want to tell you all the story of their life, and they think that you'll be very happy and this will help you during the translation. Maybe yes, but maybe not. So the other type of the client, they don't want to tell you anything at all. They will just say, like, okay, hi, my name is John, I want to call Maria, and just call her and let's see what's going to happen. This is also all right. So I want for you to understand that both attitudes of the clients, they're fine. What you need to know in the beginning is just how to introduce your client to the third party, so you don't get confused and the third party understands what's happening. Just first of all, and basically that's it. And just you need to know just what to ask first. Or even if the client is quite rude and he doesn't want to tell you anything at all, you can just say like, I mean, when you call the third party, you can just say, hello, I have Mr. John here. I'm gonna talk on his I'm gonna talk on his behalf, because I'm an interpreter, and he is gonna talk to you, and I will translate, like this. So, and by this mean, we get closer to the second part that I wanted to tell you. It's introduction of yourself. And actually, you might think that it's very simple. Yes, it is very simple, but sometimes we just forget to do this. So, of course, when the client calls you, he uses the app, and obviously he see the name of interpreter who takes the call. But anyways, we're polite and we have to introduce ourselves, and especially when the client is new in the system and he has never used Chatless before, he might not be very sure that this is going to be the real person talking. Some of the people, they expect a machine to translate for them, which is a good surprise for them when they have a real person on the line. So when you have the call, you have to say, hello, my name is Lucy. I'm an interpreter. I'm going to help you out with your issue, whatever you might need, or something like this. You choose the correct words for yourself. We don't have certain script for this. Just say whatever you feel like, but you have to introduce yourself. You have to let the client know that you are an interpreter and you're going to help him with whatever he has. The second time when we have to introduce ourselves is when the third party takes the phone. So sometimes the clients, they call someone who expect their call, but sometimes they call to and they call somebody who just doesn't know. It can be any kind of establishment, can be hotel, it can be office, can be headquarters somewhere abroad, whatever. So they are not expecting the call from the client. And of course, they're not expecting the call from you. So what you need to do, what is very important in order to avoid all this misunderstanding and confusion, when the third party picks up the phone, you have to say, hello, my name is Lucy, I'm an interpreter. And it's better if you say I'm an interpreter of Chatless, because it's gonna be like, extra advertisement, which is okay, which is very useful for us, because as more clients we have, as more money we make, and you as well. So you have to introduce yourself, and you have to make sure that the third party understand that there are going to be two people talking. And in this case, you will make your life also easier, because if the third party knows that you are an interpreter, he or she will probably, most probably, hopefully, give you the time to translate. He will not give you all the information, like a lot of it that you cannot even remember. Yeah. Also, about the memories, one of the tips that I want to give you is to also to have the small notebook, or small papers and pen all the time when you're talking, even if you feel like the conversation is going to be uh, very short and it's something easy that not necessary to write down things. Still, it's better if you do, because out of sudden there might appear some numbers, measurements, names, which are very important to say correctly, like extremely important, because by saying the wrong number, you can just ruin all the conversation, and the people will have misunderstanding, and of course for both of them it's easier to blame somebody else, and in this case you are somebody else, you are the third one. So yeah, okay, what else I wanted to tell you about this? I want to tell you about the international rules and standards for the interpretation. One of them might sound quite weird for some of you, which was also weird for me when I heard it for the first time. But this rule is you have to translate from yourself, like from the first person, which is I. So when you have somebody on the line, like Mr. John, as I said before, and he says, like, okay, I had to go yesterday to the railway station to pick up things. You would say, I went yesterday. You will say the same thing, but in your language, the one that you use for translation. It might be a bit confusing for you in the beginning, but believe me, it's very good. It's very comfortable to do, and it's way easier for the client and his and the person he's talking to understand what's happening when you say from the first person, when you say I. When you say it first time, second time, then with the third time, they will not even notice your presence, which is very good because interpreter, he is not the star of the conversation. He has to be a side. He has to take the information, transform it to another language, and give it to the third person. So that is why it's very important to say from I, like from my personal, I mean, from the first person. Yeah, also, as I said, when I was saying about the notes, when you have the numbers and especially measurements like pounds, but you have to translate it, let's say if it's English and Russian, for example. In Russian, they don't use pounds, they would say kilos, of course. But if you have someone who said pounds, you do not convert them to kilos in your head, even if you're smart enough to know this and to say the sharp calculations. Just don't do this because this also might be a bit confusing. Translate the way it is, whatever was said, you just take it and you go with that. No need to create anything else. Also, which is very important for your comfort as well, and for the clients and the person he's talking to, is the waiting time. When the client said something and you have to translate it, the waiting time between you start translation and he finishes his phrase cannot be less than 2 seconds and more than 7 seconds. Of course, I'm not asking you to watch the seconds in your watch, but you just have to feel that it doesn't have to be too long, it doesn't have to be too short. Not less than 2 seconds, not more than 7 seconds. Um, yeah, this is very important because you have to check the timing because you are the one leading the conversation. Even though the conversation is happening between two people, that's all right, but you are the one who is the leader of this. Because, for example, if the conversation goes very emotional, for example, if we have two friends, and okay, not two friends, like son-in-law from some other country, he's calling to his mother-in-law to discuss his wife, like, or ex-wife, whatever. But I mean, they don't speak the same language, and that's why. But the conversation can get really personal and can get really emotional. So in this case, it's very important for you to keep calm. First of all, it's very important for you to not to take any sides. Of course, in this kind of situation, you're a normal human like all of us. And you might try to get somebody's side, like, okay, he's right or she's right. No need. You just stay yourself, you stay calm, you're working like a translation machine, but with more brain. And that's it. This is the only thing that you have to do. I know that you all know it already, but as I said, there are some new interpreters for who this information is very useful. Don't get lost in translation. Don't get lost between the client and between the client and the person he's talking to. you're the one holding the conversation, hosting the conversation, and you're the one in charge. And even if the conversation between those two people get very emotional and quick and like rough, you have right to stop them, like to ask them to slow down, to even to interrupt them sometimes, because this is the matter of quality. If you have very long phrases to translate, you will not be able to translate them correctly. And the quality is the priority for us. I mean, you have to first of all do the high quality translation. That is why when you see that somebody's talking too much, or the client or his someone he needs to talk to is not very experienced in working with the interpreters, you can just interrupt them, but it has to be very polite, smooth, and like a professional way. It's very important. What I also wanted to say is that, guys, please, if you have any questions or you want to tell something to other interpreters, you can write it down. You can write the message down there. I will read them and I will answer online if you want. If you have the question regarding anything later on, of course, you can contact me via email. Also, you can leave your comments under the video and I will answer them as well. Anytime, whatever you need assistance with, I will be very happy to help you. But this is very important that we work all together like a team and we understand the priority of what we're doing actually. Yeah, I will wait a little bit for the questions. If there are some, I will be very happy to answer, and I hope that there will be questions. Also, this webinar will be saved in the video of Chatless on our channel, so you will be able to watch them one more time. And as I said in the beginning, the special guest, Maria Rodriguez, she was supposed to join us today, but this didn't happen. It's okay, no problem. We're gonna make one more meeting, one more webinar for all of you, and she will tell you a little bit more than I can because she is a very very experienced interpreter. She has a lot to tell you, I hope. So I see that there is no questions so far. So guys, thank you very much for watching. I will be very happy to see you one more time for my webinar. We'll try to make it quite regular and to give you some new information. This is basic one, but maybe we will tell you something interesting. I will try to do my best to. Okay, I have the question. Okay, how do you define if the person is saying too much and I will not be able to translate it? You just feel it, like you don't define. If you I'm not speaking about the ability, personal ability of each of you. If you can remember like huge amount of text that they're saying, okay, that's fine. I mean, don't interrupt, it's okay. Or as I said, if you use the notes and you write them down, all of them, okay, no problem again. But if you feel like this is already too much for you, it's up to you. This is only personal feeling. If you see that the person is continuing, and you feel that he's not going to stop, it's better to say like, okay, yeah, I'm sorry, can I just translate this to your uh, friend or partner? And let's say that's, I mean, this is it's very polite, it's normal, but it's personal decision. If you don't feel like, don't do this. It's okay. Thank you for your question, by the way. Okay. It was my pleasure to tell you all these things. I hope you will get better and better with time. I wish you have a very great day. Enjoy the summer. Don't forget to work sometimes. And see you all later on for new webinars. Have a great day, guys.